Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of Nintendo Treehouse Live at E3. I want to thank everybody who tuned in with us yesterday for a full day of Zelda that started off with Pokemon Sun and Moon. This morning, we are starting off with Pokemon once again, but this time we have an all-star lineup of developers, translators, and field testers here on stage with us for a very special developer Q&A on Pokemon Go. From the Pokemon Company, we have with us today Mr. Ishihara.
Hi.
From Game Freak, we have Mr. Masuda.
Hi.
From Niantic, we have Mr. Nomura. Of course, from Nintendo, we have Mr. Miyamoto himself. Supporting us with translation today, we have David Numrich from the Pokemon Company International. And our good friend Raymond, who many of you saw on stream yesterday from Nintendo, translating. And then we have 2 representatives of the community of field testers who have been field testing Pokemon Go. We've got Josh Jaywitz Wittenkeller and Aaron Cybertron Jang. Hey guys. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Pokemon Go, and I'm sure there's not too many of you, but Pokemon Go is a new application coming for smart devices that allows you to capture and battle Pokemon in real life using location data on your phone. Obviously, there's been excitement building for the launch of Pokemon Go ever since the original announcement, and of course, building towards the field testing that has now started around the world in different countries, Japan, the US, and Australia. But one of the big surprises that came out of the original announcement of Pokemon Go was the collaboration between the 3 key companies of the Pokemon Company, Niantic, and Nintendo. So, Mr. Ishihara, I was wondering if perhaps you could maybe talk a little bit about the reaction to the announcement and what the reactions have been with the launch of the field tests as well.
去年発表されてから、すごく期待が高まっている状況ではあると思うんですけども、フィールドテストも、いろんな国で始まって、特にその発表会で、多分ファンの、皆さんがすごくびっくりしたのは、その任天堂、ナイアンティック、ポケモンの3社のコラボレーションというところもあったと思うんですけれども、発表、してからのなんていうんですかね、その、世の中の反響というものっていうのはいかがでしょうか。
まずフィールドテスターの募集をしたときにものすごい反響があったのですごい手応えをまず感じましたね。
So I'm definitely feeling a really positive reaction. When we began the field test signups, we just had so many people signing up, so I was very pleased to see that.
本当にフィールドテスターの皆さんには素晴らしい意見や素晴らしいデータをたくさん提供いただきましたので、今日ここでまずありがとうと言いたいです。
And to all the field testers, I mean, we've been getting a lot of amazing feedback. We've been able to gather a lot of data based on their gameplay. So I really just want to say thanks to everyone who's been helping with the test.
でそのフィールドテスターの代表として今日ジョシさんとアーロンさんが、来ていただいてますので、彼らからいろんな意見や質問をぶつけていただきたいと思っています。
And as 2 representatives of that field testing community, we have Josh and Aaron here today, and I hope they'll ask me a bunch of questions and maybe give me some of their candid opinions as well.
もともとこのポケモン GO のプロジェクトは2013年の、Google のエイプリルフールのポケモンチャレンジ、それはこちらの野村さんが仕掛けて考えたものなんですけど、そこから始まっていますので、その辺の話も少しね、野村さんの方からも話していただければと思います。
And this project really got its start back in 2013 when we did an April Fool's project with Google, the Pokemon Challenge. And actually, Mr. Tatsuo Nomura right here, he's at Niantic now, was kind of at the center of that project, and I think we'll be able to hear more about it from him.
So yeah, Nomura-san, you started work on it as an April Fool's project. Can you talk about that and how development's going so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So Pokemon Challenge, the video was just showing up there. You can actually find me in there. Yeah, it was one of the April Fool's Day joke that I was worked on when I was back in Google Maps team, and that Pokemon Challenge got me connected with Mr. Ishihara here and John Hanke, a CEO at Niantic, who started this real-world gaming genre with Ingress. And so John and Ishihara-san and myself, we all met, and then we basically agreed that this is a great opportunity. We can bring Pokemon into the real world. It was really exciting. I'm really happy to see how it turned out to a real project. And we already started field test in Australia, New Zealand, and Japan and US. So there are more than thousands, I mean tens of thousands of players are actually playing it. In fact, I think the last time I checked, there were 30 Pokeball throw per second. So if you think about it, that's really amazing.
Now, Mr. Miyamoto, of course, there's a peripheral device that is going to be associated with Pokemon Go called Pokemon Go Plus, and we're going to ask you some questions about that a little bit later. But I was wondering if there was anything you could add about the partnership between Nintendo and Niantic and Pokemon and how that got started?
ポケモン GO とつながるこのポケモン GO プラスというデバイスがあるんですけれども、それについてはちょっと後ほどお話を伺いたいと思うんですけれども、その前にもしこの3社のこの関係、協力関係というのについて何かこう話していただける内容がありましたら。
本当に実はこれね、岩津さんが石原さんと進めたということで、僕ももともとポケモンに関係があるものですから、今日はここで皆さんにねご説明一緒にできることが非常に楽しみにしてました。
So actually, this is something that Mr. Iwata and Mr. Ishihara had started working on, and I was also involved. So I'm very excited to be here to share this with all of you.
Thank you. So we have a number of key phrases or topics that we kind of want to hit on today, and one of those is real-world gaming. And real-world gaming is something I think that obviously Niantic pioneered with their game Ingress. It uses the location-based data in your phone. And in the case of Pokemon Go, what it does is it allows you to go out and find Pokemon in the real world, find ways to capture them, and battle them. It's really kind of impressive. I've been actually fortunate enough to be a part of the beta test or the field testing myself, and having a lot of fun catching Pokemon and playing. But Mr. Ishihara, obviously we've had a lot of people around the world are now a part of the field test, and we're seeing a lot of reaction from them. But I'm actually interested in how you're playing Pokemon Go in your everyday life.
まずはナイアンティック社が切り開いたジャンルのリアルワールドゲームですね、位置情報を使ってゲームをするジャンルになるんですけれども、今回のポケモン GO の場合は外に出てポケモンを捕まえるというものだと思うんですけれども、自分もフィールドテスターとして参加させてもらっていて、すごく非常に楽しんでるんですけれども、石田さんとしてはどういう遊び方をされてるんでしょうか。
そうですね、こちらのフィールドテスターの皆さん、特に、ポケモンを実際の空間で捕まえるという体験をされていると思いますけれども、私自身もフィールドテスターとして、私自身はかなり優秀なフィールドテスターだと思ってるんですけれども、毎日毎朝愛犬と一緒にですねフィールドテストしてます。あそこに少し映ってますけれども。
So I think everyone here has been playing in the field test and really enjoying going out into the real world, catching Pokemon in the familiar spaces that around their neighborhoods and such. But I'm also a very diligent field tester myself. I think I have provided a lot of good feedback. And here's some pictures of my morning walks with my dog, and I've been catching Pokemon.
I love these pictures of your dog. He looks very nervous with the Pokemon there in the picture with
これ写真すごいです。やっぱこれワンちゃんちょっと緊張してるんじゃないですか、ポケモンの前で。
ちなみに愛犬の名前はポキと言います。
So yeah, my dog's name is Pokey actually.
彼と毎朝。
I also have been doing a lot of field testing while walking my dog, and I find that if my dog is in the viewfinder, it seems to me like it's easier for me to catch the Pokemon. Is this true or am I crazy?
自分は犬の散歩を毎朝してるんですけれども、そのポケモンを捕まえるときにワンちゃんが映ってるとなんかこう捕まえやすくなるような感じも自分は思うんですけれども、そういうなんかプログラミングっていうのは。
稲村さん、そんなすごいテクノロジー入ってますか。
So did you put that kind of stuff in the game, Mr. Nomura?
Yeah, artificial intelligence.
AI を使って優秀なもの。
気のせいですか。
気のせいですね。
No, it's probably just your imagination.
あと実際にね、私もこのロサンゼルスでたくさんポケモンを捕まえたりしてきましたの
And I've
で。
actually caught a few Pokemon here in Los Angeles.
こんな感じですね。会場でミャオス
This
や
is here in the convention center,
入り口ですね。
right at the entrance to E3.
こんな感じですね。はい。で昨日はこのサンムーンの会場でマチョップが
And
出
this
て
was
きま
during the Treehouse Live segment for Pokemon Sun and Moon.
はいでゲームの方はですね、
So in the actual
まあ
game
こんな感じ
itself,
で、結構強いポケモンまで育て上げております。
so I've actually got quite a few really strong Pokemon,
まあ、捕まえた場所は千代田区東京ジャパンだったりし
and you can see that all the location of where I caught it, Chiyoda and Tokyo.
ますはいまあそうですね、ロサンゼルスで捕まえたメアウス、
Here's the Meowth that I caught here in LA.
はいイーブイですね、
And Eevee
はい、ロサンゼルスね、はい、もう毎日素晴らしいフィールドテスターになってると思いますね
So I think I'm a pretty good field tester. I'm playing it, quite a bit every day.
I can prove that.
Yeah, I find that I'm walking a lot more than I used to because of the field testing. So thank you.
まあフィールドテストのおかげでいつも以上にちょっと歩いてるっていうことになってるのでありがとうございます。
Now, Josh, you've been playing a lot as well. Do you have any pictures you want to share or any questions you want to ask?
Yeah, so I've been playing a lot, especially around my new home and workplace over the ferry and in the city of San Francisco, which is actually not super far from where Niantic is. So I've been able to see a lot of Pokemon. I've caught a couple hundred, and I love that I'm still able to give them nicknames, which has been a lot of fun. But I have noticed that I've seen the same core of around 50 or so specific types of Pokemon. So I guess if I had a question, it would be, where can you find other types of Pokemon? Like if you're traveling to different countries or areas. And also, I've only seen Kanto Pokemon. Are there plans to have Pokemon outside of Kanto as well?
まあ、ジョッシュの方は最近サンフランシスコに引っ越してフィールドテストをそこでも中心的にやってるんですけれども、まあ、100匹以上のポケモンを捕まえて、通勤の時とかを捕まえてるんですけれども、大体同じ50種類ぐらいの、ポケモンを、見かける、ことに、ね、今なっています。でちょっと2つ質問があるんですけれども、まあ、他の場所に行けばやっぱ違う種類のポケモンが、出るのか、他の実際の地球の場所に行くと、もう一つがまあ、今ちょっと関東地方の、最初の、赤緑の、ポケモンしかちょっと見かけてないんですけれども、他の地方のポケモンも出てくるんでしょうか。
はい、まずですねポケモンの基本は全部捕まえようと、ガラキャッチングボールですから、すべてのポケモンが捕まえられるようにしようと思っています。
So obviously with Pokemon, you have the slogan, gotta catch them all, and really completing your Pokedex is kind of part of the fun of Pokemon, so we want to bring the game to a point where eventually you can catch all of them.
ただまあ今年はポケモン20周年ですので、この一番最初の20年前の赤緑の、ポケモンをまずみんなで捕まえてもらいたいと思っています。
But being the 20th anniversary of Pokemon, we feel that it was appropriate to begin the game with the main Pokemon from the red and blue games.
まあこの赤緑のポケモンはまあ、昔から遊んでいる人にとっては非常に懐かしくて、で最近遊び始めた人にとっては、まあ、意外と新鮮で珍しいという特徴があると思います。
So I think one of the cool things about the red and blue Pokemon is that they're both kind of simultaneously really nostalgic for players who began with the original entries, but also kind of fresh and maybe not so familiar to the people who've kind of joined the series with the recent entries.
なので、まずここから始めて徐々に種類が増えていくというふうにして、全部を捕まえてもらいたいと思っています。
So at the beginning we're going to launch with the red and blue Pokemon, but we're going to gradually add more and more, and eventually you'll be able to catch them all.
All right, sounds great.
あと2つ目の、まあ
your other question as well.
捕まり、どんなところにどんなポケモンがいるか、これはちょっと野村さんの方から話してもらった方がいいです。
So I think I'll actually have Tatsuo field your question about which Pokemon you're where type of thing.
Right, if you play the core series, you'll find water Pokemon near water and like Rattata grass Pokemon in tall grass. So we are doing essentially the same, except that you have to go into the real world. You have to explore the world to discover these Pokemon. Like so if you live in the San Francisco Bay Area, then you probably find a lot of water Pokemon there, right?
Yeah, a lot of Krabby, Horsey, Starmie, and I noticed Aaron actually does not have very many water Pokemon. So I'm definitely starting to see like some gap depending on where you are in certain areas.
So that's what we are trying to do using Niantic's location technology and try to map the Pokemon to the real world. So you need to actually explore a little further than your neighborhood to catch them all.
Aaron, have you had any questions that have popped up in your field testing?
Yeah, so this kind of actually builds off what you just said about, relating to the core series. But I've been beta testing for about 3 or 4 weeks back in my city of New York, and Josh and I actually compared like the Pokemon list we had, and they're pretty similar. He had some water Pokemon that I didn't have, but like you mentioned, there was like this core kind of number of Pokemon that we both saw, and there were also a bunch of Pokemon that neither of us have seen yet. So I wanted to ask, is Pokemon Go going to be like the main series where there's some Pokemon that are significantly harder and more rare to catch?
自分はニューヨークを中心にフィールドテストをやってるんですけれども、今日ここに来てサンフランシスコのに住んでいる女子とちょっと捕まえているポケモンを見比べたんですけども、やっぱちょっと違いが結構出てて、その地域差みたいなこともあったんですけれども、ちょっと本編シリーズみたいにやっぱこうなんていうんですかね、その捕まりにくいポケモンとか珍しいポケモンっていうのはやっぱ今回も地層してるかっていう質問になるんですけれども。
Yeah, absolutely. So if you saw the Arbra, I saw Arbra on the video.
Yeah.
Like for example, in the core series, the Arbra runs away, right? It teleports away. So that's something we have in Pokemon Go as well. We consulted with Masuda-san, Ishihara-san to try to catch to reserve the Pokemon very nature and have wide variety of different type. The rarer ones, harder to catch ones, they all exist in the Pokemon Go as well.
Okay, thank you.
Now, obviously, Pokemon Sun and Moon are the upcoming Nintendo 3DS games, and Masuda-san, you're working on those simultaneously with Pokemon Go, which is on a smart device. So I was wondering, where are you putting your development focus on Pokemon Go, and what are the key elements for you that are most important to bring to life in the smart device?
増田さんなんですけども、ポケモンサンとムーンの開発はもちろん、同時にやってるというふうに思うんですけれども、それは3DS のゲームであって、今回スマートフォンのゲームなんですけれども、今回スマートフォンでポケモン GO みたいなゲームを作るにあたって特に開発に注力されたことっていうのは何でしょうか？
やっぱり世界中のいろんなところに出てくるゲームなので、ポケモン GO にとって一番大事なのはやっぱりポケモンを捕まえるっていうことだなと思ったので、ポケモンを捕まえるところはむちゃこだわってますね。
So I think with Pokemon Go, because we wanted to have enough Pokemon in different places in the world, we really wanted to put the focus on the catching of Pokemon. So that's really why I focus most of my energy on getting that aspect right.
ちょっとさっき出してみたんですけど、
just turn on the AR mode. It looks like
AR モードにするとですね、
you turn on AR mode, it switches to use the camera here, and here it is with us.
これ映しちゃっていいのかな、皆さん反対側に。
I'm not sure if it's okay to show everyone who's out there in line, but みんな多分全部
回ってるよ。
待ち列ですね。
ちょっと逃げましょう一旦。
ちょっと他のやつを
ran away from that one.
こいつを捕まえてみましょう。
Let's try this one here.
いますね。ちょっとですね。これ今いろんなボールの動きと、あと的のところに
ちょっとそれ不具合が出てるのでこっちに。
はい。Looks like we're having a little issue with the. We're going to switch up on the phone, but what he was just showing there is that you can kind of control the spin of the ball as well as the strength. And one of the goals when you're trying to catch the Pokemon is hit that target that appears.
ラッタが今。
All right, we got switched over to a different device. It's a Rattata here.
It's a fierce Rattata.
Wii U の上に Wii U のところにいますけども、この的がちっちゃくなった時になるべく当てると、捕まえやすいと。
So if you actually try and time it correctly, so that circle in the middle gets small when the ball hits the Pokemon, it'll increase your chances of catching it.
それで今回やっぱりいろんな方向とか力によってボールが飛んでいくのが違うんですね。
And so you're directly controlling the ball. You can control the direction it goes in, the strength.
それが結構やっぱり今までの 3DS だと A ボタンでボール投げてたと思うんですけど、いろんなやり方で。
So in the 3DS games, you just press the A button to catch or throw out a Pokeball, but in this one, you have more direct control over it.
いいよ。よし。
Got it.
ガッチャ。こういう感じでですね、このやっぱり投げるところはすごいこだわって作ってるんですけど、ちょ
ちょっとまだまだ改良したくてですね、これ3回ぐらい作ってるんですけど、もう1回作り直そうかなと思って。
So really getting this feel of the throwing the Pokeball out and catching the Pokemon, where I've been putting my effort into, and I've had the folks at Niantic kind of recreate this mechanic even 3 times already, but I'll probably have to do some more improvements again.
Yeah, we'll do our best. Yeah.
Now, Masuda-san, are you also working on the music in the game? Because I've noticed that the music is very vibrant and has kind of a lot of action to it.
そうですね、今回の音楽もすごいエネルギーあふれる感じなんですけど、増田さんも関わってるんでしょうか。
そうですね、今回全部効果音も音楽も全部作っています。自分が作ってます。
So yeah, I'm working on all the sound effects and the music in the game.
で今回やっぱり歩いて移動していくっていうゲームなので、この移動してる感じとか、あとはテンポにすごいこだわっています。
So I'm really, since this is a game where you go out and about and you're walking around while playing it, I wanted the music to be more kind of a higher tempo, higher pace to really get people excited.
ちょっと早めのテンポにすることで、皆さん歩く速度が少し上がると思うんですけど、早く歩く方が健康的らしいので、いろいろ調べてちょっと早めにしてます。
So some of the research I've done indicates that walking fast is actually better for your health. So I really wanted to make this music kind of encourage people to, take steps a little bit more quickly and walk faster.
It's very nice.
いいですね。
Now, of course, while you're playing Pokemon Go, at least during the field test, I spend a lot of time looking at my phone as I'm walking and exploring the world and trying to find Pokemon out in the real world. And I have to thank Nomura-san. There's actually this green space near my house where our neighbors have been building trails for a long time. And the trails have actually appeared on the map, and there's Pokestops in the forest, and it's really fun to go in there and search for Pokemon. But one of the things that obviously I think we want to talk a little bit about is sort of our next key topic or key phrase, which is Pokemon Go Plus, which I think makes the game a little bit more handy when you are walking around and trying to catch Pokemon. So, Mr. Miyamoto, can you show it off and tell us a little bit about it?
そうですね。まず宮本さんにちょっと Go プラスについてちょっと話してもらえますか。
そうですね。やっとできました。動いてますよね。ピカピカ。このランプと振動でね、いろんなことがわかるんですけどね。
So actually, here's the device, and you can actually know what's going on based on the light here.
で、これスマートフォンにつながります。Android でも iPhone でもつながります。ですからこれがあると画面を見ないで歩きながらゲームをすることもできるんですね。
And so with the light and vibration, it tells you what's going on in the smartphone, and it connects via Bluetooth to Android and iPhone, and it basically allows you to play the game without having to look at your smartphone.
Oh, okay. And so how does it work?
それがあるとどんなことができるんですか、具体的に。
そうですね、基本は本当にまず目といいますかね、視覚を開放して、プレイヤーは散歩を楽しむこととゲームを楽しむことの融合を図るということがすごく大事だと思っています。
So as I said, you can access certain gameplay functionality without having to look at the smartphone, and what that does, it frees up the player's eyesight in a lot of situations, so they can kind of enjoy exploring their surroundings, going for a walk, while also playing the game.
これは本当にナイアンティックのコンセプトにも見合っていると思いますけど、どうですか。
I think it's part of the philosophy at Niantic, though. Maybe Tatsuo can say something more about that.
Yeah, so at Niantic, our core mission is adventures on foot. So we want people to go outside to discover things, to look around, not looking at your phone. So that's been our challenge and focus. And I think Pokemon Go Plus gives us one answer for that.
そうですね。ナイアンティックでは外に出て冒険するっていうすごい哲学もあるので、なんていうんですかね、そういうそれが今回のポケモン GO プラスがその一つの答えなんじゃないかなっていうふうに思います。
ヘッズアッププレイっていうことを言われてまして、目を上に向けて、そしてゲームをしようということですね。
I think another one I've heard is that you guys call it heads up play to kind of keep your head up and aware of your surroundings while playing the game.
Absolutely.
使い方はですね、ポケモンが出現するとこの、どう言いますかね、この緑色に点灯しまして、でこの時に振動を感じて、ポケモンが出たって分かるんですね。
So when a Pokemon's nearby, the device will start flashing green like that, and it'll also vibrate, notifying you that there's a chance to catch a Pokemon.
でその時に、ボタンを押す
You
と
can press
こ
the
の
button.、
白いキャプチャーしたっていう判定が出ます。
So you can press the button to throw out a Pokeball, and that'll then decide whether you
で
catch it
そ
or
の
not.
時にうまくポケモンが捕まえられるとこの先ほど宮本さんが見せてくれたレインボーに光ってポケモンがガチャってなるわけですね。
And if you actually end up successfully catching that Pokemon, it'll start flashing in this rainbow color, kind of like what just appeared on Mr. Miyamoto's device.
で残念ながら失敗することもあって時々赤いランプがつきます。
It's not a guaranteed success, so if it flashes red, that means that you didn't successfully catch it.
それ以外にもフィールド上でいろんなアイテムをゲットできたりとか、とても便利なツールだと思います。
And there's also a lot of opportunities in the game to get items, but you can catch or you can grab them via the Pokemon Go device, so it's very useful.
私のフィールドテストにはもう欠かせない必須アイテムに今なってますけれども。
So the Pokemon Go Plus has really turned into a must-have item for me when I'm on my field testing experiences.
ただこうやってつけている風に僕はプレイしたいんですけど、今ちょっとそれはできないので、こう手で隠すようにこうやっていつもプレイしています。
So whenever I'm taking a walk, I'd rather put it, on my pocket here, but since we still haven't released it, I'm always trying to hide it in my hand when I'm taking a walk.
こんな感じでこう
Being very suspicious.
しかもあれですよ、犬のリードを持って
そうなんです
道具を持って歩くって余計にこの方がいいですよね。
そうなんです。
Plus, when you have to hold a leash, you can go.
犬のリードと犬のうんちと、
うんちと
それは関係ない。
Gotta carry the waste bags too. You got a lot of things.
Josh and Aaron, did you have any questions about Pokemon Go Plus?
Well, yeah, I have a running loop that's right next to my house, and I would love to be able to run it and play Pokemon Go at the same time. Just playing Pokemon Go on the phone, I see there's Pokestops around the whole thing. I'd love to collect the items, but that means I have to stop my runs. I'm excited to be able to play while still maybe being a little bit more active. So I'm just excited for the device. I guess if I had a question, it would be when will we be able to see Pokemon Go Plus?
そうですね、家の周り結構走ったりするんですけども、ポケストップも多くて、やっぱこう走ってるといちいち止まってポケストップやってみたいっていうのは、ちょっと面倒くさい感じもあるので、やっぱポケモン GO プラスがあるとすごくそれがはかどるんじゃないかなと思うんですけれども、まず気になるのはいつ頃、手に入るんでしょうか、このデバイス。
そうですね。7月のね終わりぐらいまでには何とかしたいと思ってるんですけど、さっきの話聞いたと大丈夫ですからね。
So we actually want to get it out towards the end of July, but listening to just the conversation earlier, we're gonna be okay, right?
もう来月ですよ。
That's next month.
Wow. So we're talking about Pokemon Go Plus, right?
あれですよね、アプリじゃなくて GO プラスのデバイス。
いやいや。
じゃあ先にこれだけ買ってください。
So we can get this first.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask. I've been using Pokemon Go basically every day on my way to work, and in New York City, everyone's very, very busy. So I'll be in the middle of the street trying to catch a Pokemon. Everyone will look at me and tell me to get out of the way. And so I'm very excited for Pokemon Go Plus, and I wanted to know when it does get released, where can I and everyone else go purchase an actual version of
そうで
it?
すね、ニューヨークでやってる時も結構やっぱいちいち止まって、これボール投げしてると結構やっぱ通行人が多いので、怪しそうな感じになって、GO プラスがあるといいなってすごく思ってるんですけれども、ですね、どういうところで買えるんでしょうか。
これはですね、やはりせっかくスマホで遊んでいる時にそのスマホから直接、購入できた方がいいなと思っています。ですから、ゲームの中で、最も、その地域に近い、ところから、買えるような、そういう仕組みで、もう一つはもちろん店頭でも、買えるようにしたいと思っています。
This is kind of another new thing for us to do, but obviously it's kind of like what you're saying. You'll probably want the device the most when you're playing the game. So what we decided to do is have a button from within the application that'll direct you to the appropriate store for your region to purchase the device online, and it'll also be available in certain physical retailers as well.
So, Mr. Miyamoto, since you kind of surprised us and shared our release timing, do you also want to surprise us and share the price as well?
そうですね。そうですね。$34.99。
It'll be $34.99.
どうですか。
Is that all right?
Well, I guess if Pokemon Go Plus is coming out relatively soon, we can have some hopes for Pokemon Go coming out soon. So with Pokemon Go launching in the near future, and Pokemon Sun and Moon coming later this year. I'm wondering, Mr. Masuda, are you planning any connection between Pokemon Go and Pokemon Sun and Moon?
まあ、Go プラスが、7月末、っていう話になって、アプリも、すぐに出るんじゃないかなというふうにはちょっと思うんですけれども、同時にサンムーンの開発も進んでいて、今年年末に出るということだと思うんですけれども、何か今年出るゲームのこの2本、なんかつながりみたいなものっていうのは考えていますか？
そうですね、もちろんポケモン GO をいっぱい遊んでもらっていっぱい捕まえてもらって、で皆さんなんかいろいろ考えてると思うんですけど、自分たちもやっぱりサンとムーンとやっぱり関係性を持たせたいなと思ってますんで、何か、やってみたいなというふうに考えてます。
So when the game first comes out, we really want people just to focus on going out, having real life adventures and catching Pokemon. But eventually, at some point, we do plan to add some kind of connectivity between Pokemon Go and the main games.
I'm very excited to hear that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Any comments from the two of you on that or questions?
Well, I guess in general, I'm just really excited hearing all of this functionality, all these different plans coming for Pokemon Go. I've noticed we've already even been getting new features in the field test that we've been messing with as well. I saw there's now ways to power up and evolve your Pokemon. I guess my question would be, how does that system work? I've seen like Pokemon Candy, and it's different than what I'm used to, and I would love to hear more about it.
最近ちょっとフィールドテストに追加された機能としてポケモンを強化させるとか進化させるというものがあるんですけれども、それってもうちょっと詳しく話してもらっていいですか？
そうですね、ポケモンの魅力は何といってもこうやって進化させたりポケモンをレベルを上げて強くしたりということだと思いますので、今回の中でその仕組みを入れました。
So of course, one of the core appeals of Pokemon is strengthening your Pokemon, leveling them up, and that evolution aspect as well. So we decided to put those in this game as well.
ただスマホらしい新しい仕組みでの、進化の仕方や、強くさせ方を、作ってみました。
But when it comes to this kind of powering up mechanism, we wanted to do something new for the smartphone device format, so we've come up with a different system.
何か野村さんの方で付け加えることはありますか？
Yeah, so just like what Ishihara-san said, because this is a smartphone device game, it's very different. We expect people to play this when they're outside. So instead of like in the core series where you battle Pokemon to catch, to level up, that will actually take a lot of time. We don't want people to stop. We want people to walk a bit and catch a Pokemon and keep moving. So we invented this new system, just what you said, the candies. So every time you catch a Pokemon, you get a few candies. And by collecting these candies, you can use them to power up or evolve your Pokemon. For example, if you catch 25, it's 25 Squirtle, and you get 25 Squirtle's candy. Now, if you use that, you can evolve Squirtle to a Wartortle.
I hope I find more, because I picked Squirtle to start.
We're still tuning and adjusting the details and the names, so that's as much details as I can give out.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, another question I actually had is, one of the staple components of Pokemon, the core Pokemon series, is the ability to trade with other people. We saw in the trailer for Pokemon Go that was released a few months ago, a bunch of players trading inside Pokemon Go. But when I was playing the field test, I saw that trading hadn't been implemented yet. So I wanted to ask, will that eventually be implemented?
やっぱポケモンといえばもう交換っていうのが結構、強い要素としてあると思うんですけれども、最初のその、発表の時の、映像では、交換しているシーンもあったんですけども、まだフィールドテストにはちょっと実装されていないと思いますが、予定ありますか？
現在はもちろんこの交換はこれからちゃんとできるようにするんですけれども、まずは最初はできるだけたくさんのポケモンを、みんなに集めていただきたいと。でその集めてだんだん交換がしたくなった頃にこの機能を、足していくというか入れていくという形にしたいと思っています。
Yeah, so of course we have plans to implement it, as was shown in the video. But at the when we first launched the game, we really want people again to kind of focus on going out, catching a lot of Pokemon. So we'll find the appropriate timing once people have maybe caught quite a few Pokemon and they're starting to really want to trade with other people to get more. We'll implement the trading function then.
まあ、スマホのゲームは、まあ、最初はできるだけ入り口が広くて遊びやすくてシンプルなものにして、それでだんだん濃いユーザーが増えてきたらこう機能を順次増やしていきたいというふうに考えています。
And this kind of goes back to my philosophy with developing smartphone games, where you kind of really bring out the core experience when you first launch the application. Then, as people stick with it and they want more kind of depth of gameplay, we add on more functionality, new features, and everything to really keep people interested.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. It actually kind of leads me into my next question. I also wanted to ask a little bit about, it's also regards to the trailer we saw earlier. I remember one of the most exciting scenes that came out from that trailer where a lot of people gathered in Times Square in New York trying to catch a Mewtwo and working together. And I remember I was really freaking out. I thought it was awesome. And I wanted to ask, does Pokemon Go eventually have plans where players can work together and, work on catching Pokemon together or group activities?
もう一つちょっとあれですね、発表の時の映像からの質問になるんですけれども、すごい最後の方にたくさんの人が集まってミュウツーを一緒に捕まえるというシーンがあったんですけれども、そのようないっぱい人が集まって協力するみたいなゲームプレイっていうのは入れる予定ありますか？
はい、このイベントはね、これからどんどん入れていきたいと思っています。はい。ただ今の段階でグループでジムを攻略するという仕組みも入っていると思いますので、まずは小さい人数のグループでいろんなジムを攻略するという遊びから始めてもらいたいと思います。
So we've already got some gameplay in the field test version where you can kind of get groups of players together to go and attack or take down gyms. So that's kind of a hint of what's to come, maybe.
でその後にきっとこれからどんどんいろんなイベントが始まると思いますので、楽しみにしていてください。
Yeah, I think we definitely got a lot of cool plans for what we want to do with bigger events. So I hope you'll look forward to it.
Awesome.
It's very exciting to hear about the events and the gyms. I've had some challenges trying to defeat some of the gyms in my neighborhood because I got started a little bit late in the field testing. But it also, all of the real-world gaming talk reminds me of some of the projects that Mr. Miyamoto has worked on in the past with things like the Louvre Guide and even Street Pass on Nintendo 3DS. And I was kind of curious, Mr. Miyamoto, if this ties into any other projects you might be thinking about or any of your past projects that you've worked on?
ビルさんはフィールドテスト入ったのがちょっと遅めで、そうですね、結構周りにもう強いチームが出来上がっててなかなか攻略できないんですけれども、それをちょっと置いといて結構任天堂さんの方で、任天堂の方でも、結構そういう位置情報とか、ゲームとかを関連付けたものっていうのは、いくつかチャレンジは、してきてるんですけれども、例えば宮本さんが関わったルーブル美術館の、ガイドのアプリとかなんですけれども、今回、ちょっと宮本さんに聞きたいんですけれども、そのポケモン GO、GO プラスにこの取り組みについて、どうお考えですか？
そうですね、DS の頃からね、ずっともっと GBA の頃からGPS を使って何かといういろんな実験をしてきたんですけど、なかなか精度とかいろんなものがうまくいかなかった。でルーブルはまた別の仕組みで実現したんですけども、それは今度ナイアンテックさんの技術とこのポケモン GO で本当にいろんなところみんなが集まって遊ぶとかいろんなところに行って遊ぶことができるようになったので非常に幸せに思ってます。やっぱりこういうこのデバイスは初めてスマートフォンにつながるデバイスなんですけど、この技術とこういうデバイスがあるとまだまだいろんな遊びにこれから展開できるなと思うんですけども、楽しみにしてます。
So, games based on location information is something that Nintendo worked on in the DS and even as early as the GBA. But we weren't able to really put into effect because we weren't able to get some good data. But, with this device, we can get actual GPS location data that's really, we can use this to really expand gameplay. And like for in the Louvre Museum guy that you mentioned, that's using a different sort of spec, so it's a little different. But this device is something that connects to a smartphone, which is the first time for something Nintendo related that doesn't connect to a Nintendo platform. And I think this will provide us with also with the technology from Niantic. It'll provide us. It kind of expands our horizon into what kinds of different gameplay we can do. So I'm very happy to see this taking off.
Well, I could probably talk about Pokemon Go all morning, but I'm sure we've got folks that want to see some other things. So I wanted to take a moment and thank everybody for joining us on stage and give you each an opportunity to deliver maybe one last message to our viewers.
どんどん話したい内容はまだ山ほどあるんですけれども、ちょっと時間が来ましたので、最後にちょっと皆さん、一人一人からちょっと最後のメッセージということで、何か話してもらえますか。じゃあまず石原さんから。
そうですね。はい。
先ほど宮本さんの方からポケモン GO プラスの発売日が発表されてしまいましたので、ポケモン GO はさらにそれより前にないといけないということですので、みんなで頑張って、ね、間に合わせたいと思いますけれども。
So, I think he just announced the release date for the Pokemon Go Plus device, and obviously that means we've got to have the application out there ahead of time. So we're going to have to work hard to get it ready for everyone.
でもぜひ面白いゲームになっていると思うんで、楽しみに待っててほしいと思い
I
ま
think
す。
it's really coming together to be a really interesting game for everyone. So I hope people look forward to it.
はい、この位置情報ゲームなので、地球上の至る所にポケモンが現れますので、いろんなところに行ってみたり、旅してみたり、旅先でプレイしてみたりっていう風にですね、いろんな楽しみ方があると思うんで、そうやってポケモントレーナーたちがどんどん増えていくっていうのを楽しみにしています。
So the Pokemon Go, Pokemon are going to appear in the real world. So when you're out, in your neighborhood, or even when you're, for example, you're on a vacation, you're somewhere new, you're going to be able to encounter all these Pokemon, be a real Pokemon trainer yourself. So I hope people really look forward to that aspect. A lot of fun packed in the game. じゃあ、Tatsuo?
Yeah, sure. So at Niantic, we value. So we started this real world gaming with Ingress. And what we are trying to do to achieve is actually more than just a game. We're trying to bring people outside, want people to discover interesting places like around their neighborhood or like when the new places they visit. So that's something we're trying really hard to achieve. And with this Pokemon game, so you can go capture a lot of different Pokemon in different area, but the fun is actually outside. It's not only in the screen. You look outside, you'll find interesting things and people around you. That's really important to us. The team has been working really hard with the help from the community to try to develop the game. We didn't really announce the launch date yet, I think. But we're really right now at this moment the team is working to make the game. So please look forward to.
You've got to go back after this.
Yeah. I got to start working right after this.
Right.
Yeah.
じゃあ、すみません、宮本さんからお願いします。
We are ready now. 本当にね、任天堂ポケモンも含めて幅広い人に遊んでほしいと思ってます。で、これお父さんのスマートフォンにつないで子供が一緒に歩きながら遊ぶこともできますし、ぜひとも皆さんで楽しんでいただけると思います。
In Nintendo, including Pokemon, we want a very wide variety of people to enjoy our games. So this can actually be connected to, say, your parents' smartphone, and you can play together. So I really want to encourage everybody to play together and have fun.
Well, I've been having a lot of fun. I'm going to keep walking and hunting until I find my favorite Pokemon, Psyduck. So hopefully we can find Psyduck soon.
My collection.
Uh-oh. But again, did you two have anything you wanted to add, or?
Yeah, so I've been playing Pokemon since the first game, Red and Blue, or for you guys, Red and Green. And I've played every game, every side game. I really love, I guess, throwing myself into this Pokemon universe, but never have I played a Pokemon game and gotten to see it as it was being developed. This has been a really unique opportunity, and I just want to thank you all so much for having us as a part of this and letting us, I guess, be with so many incredible Nintendo, Pokemon, Niantic All-Stars who've been developing some of my favorite games forever.
Yeah, Josh put that really well. But I've also, been a huge Pokemon fan, and I've played basically every Pokemon game, whether it's part of the original series or a spin-off. And Pokemon Go is one of the most unique games that I've ever seen, not just inside Pokemon, but outside of Pokemon as well. I have a lot of friends back at home who might have stopped playing Pokemon a little bit earlier on, but are really excited to continue playing Pokemon through Pokemon Go. And I attend the competitive Pokemon video game tournaments, and those are great experiences. And I think Pokemon Go will further enhance everyone's experience there and really bring everyone together. So thank you to Niantic and Pokemon for having me here, and I'm really excited to see the future of it.
Well, Ishihara-san, Masuda-san, Nomura-san, Miyamoto-san, thank you very much for joining us today. Everybody watching at home, we have more Nintendo Treehouse Live coming up. We've got a full day of new content that we haven't shown you yet here at E3. It's going to start off with the introduction of a brand new IP that's going to blend some action with some RPG coming to Nintendo 3DS. And we have a special guest developer for that segment as well. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few moments. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.